Friends, it gives me great pleasure to deliver the concluding remarks to this marvelous conclave. You have heard the views from a host of very experienced, talented executives, and collaboration has emerged as the dominant theme to emerge from this conclave. I would just like to say a few words about what this collaboration means and what its scope should be. We all think of the pandemic as some kind of a crisis which inflicts pain and hardship on individuals, companies, and society at large. However, the pandemic and the crisis have forced us to rethink some things which we normally take for granted. Who we are as individuals, as members of society, as company employees, as company executives, as company management, how we relate to each other, and what role we play in society at large. Many companies have downsized. Many companies had to shut shutters and they had to let their people go. This has caused pain at an individual level to employees and also to society at large, because this closure, this ceasing of economic activity has caused other companies also to lose demand and close down their businesses. And the individual pain of employees and individual companies has transmuted into larger social pain and economic suffering. You have seen that. Very often we think of ourselves as working for money that we draw as a salary or wage. We don't see beyond that salary or wage to what that salary or wage represents. We are entitled to a salary when you work in a company because through this company, we are meeting the felt need or want of other people, right? Unless those people actually desired something that the company that we work for is able to deliver, there's no need for the company and there's no need for the company to employ us, right? So we represent one node in a very elaborate division of labor that today spans the entire world. So we are actually working for other people. Although in normal course, we don't see this as working for other people. We just see us as working for a salary or at best as for a company and its community. So when the pandemic comes and it disrupts global supply chains, it disrupts global economic activity and creates pain for people across the world, some of that pain will rub off on us directly, indirectly. So this forces us to rethink our relationship with ourselves, with our companies, and with larger society and society at a global level. But that's not such a bad thing, right? Now, clearly, as chief executive after CFO and COO has told you, we are forced to collaborate as never before in our effort to overcome the challenges posed by this pandemic. Now, people are working from home in a very straightforward fashion. That requires, large-scale change in a number of parameters. If location becomes unimportant, jobs become location non-specific, why should this non-specificity be spread across the world? Why should a company that today employs people in Hong Kong or Singapore or other very expensive cities not locate their resources or find fresh resources equally capable in Mumbai or Gurgaon or Pune or Trivandrum? The pandemic has shown the potential for relocation not only of supply chains from China, but of the entire way of working in a very different fashion. If this were to happen, think of the disruption this would cause in companies, in the current lineup of employees, in the future lineup of employees, the way the cultural affinities are to be retuned, re-coordinated to align them with the companies. And how can that be achieved unless all the major function heads collaborate and are willing to accommodate the views of others so that they understand the challenge and understand the different facets that apply to them, so that collectively, once all of them put their heads together and all of them act to solve the problem, you have a new way ahead, which will actually be better than what was left behind. Housing. Work from home is a very simple thing, right? But if suppose you live in a home where there are multiple people working, a large part of our young adults who are working in the IT industry, in the BPO industry, many of them live in very crowded flats, sharing one room, uh, probably four to a room, even three to a room. How can all of them work from home? What are the challenges this poses? What are the changes required in the real estate industry and the kind of buildings they supply? What are the kind of security measures that companies have to take to ensure protect the client confidentiality that will be challenged when people work from home? What are the ethical practices and ethical grounding that employees need to have in order to work from home efficiently, honestly, and diligently? So these are all things that confront us just from one simple pandemic. And this it's not just a question of pandemic. We are seeing many kinds of disruption. Along with the pandemic, people have realized that climate change is a very major threat to the world at large. Today, wildfires are raging across many parts of the world, from Australia to California to the Amazon. And people realize the frequency and scale of these fires has been magnified by man-made climate change. And most people understand that companies need to change the way they function in order to reduce their carbon footprint and in order to make themselves more appealing as companies, as providers of services and goods that consumers should want to consume, and thereby proactively work on reducing their own carbon footprint. See, if a company, because of the consumer perception, perhaps because of government policies on carbon taxes or carbon trading opportunities, want to reduce the carbon footprint, it means re-engineering how the company works internally. Here again, every function head will have to sit together, make their own contributions to allow the company to undergo this kind of transformation. So we are in an era of disruptive change. It might be said that this is a cliche that can be said anytime in the world, but today the pandemic and the change in energy scenario and the change in the kind of globalization of hectic travel across continents that we have taken for granted, all these things are changing. Of course, we have technology to help us. Many faceted, many splendid technologies helping you not only work from home, but also to reduce energy, perhaps suck carbon out of the atmosphere, and so many other things. So how we understand technology, appreciates its utility for a company and for its many functions within it. All these things have to be again freshly reappraised, evaluated, and actionable conclusions reached. Here again, everybody has to collaborate. So it is no surprise that collaboration emerges the principal theme that resonated across this conference. I hope instead of just hearing this as a nice word, collaboration, we will be able to translate this into everyday practice, into strategies, into various specific actions that will together carry out that translation of strategy into day-to-day practice and into behavioral change, in which, of course, HR departments will have to play a very crucial role. But that HR department will not be able to play that crucial role unless they get the support from every single other part of that company, from the CEO to the CFO to the CIO and the CTO. And this is the lesson that we have been able to get from this particular conference. I'm sure new challenges will emerge, and we will have to rethink very many things that we think are settled today. And we will have occasion to meet again to reevaluate our performance, to assess new challenges, and to find new solutions. This is a journey that ETHR World is happy to travel along with, to for us all to move together in a journey of exploration, inquiry, and hopefully discovery. Thank you.